Reeves is here with outdoor winter planter ideas to refresh your entrance for this season. How's it going, Owen?
Great.
Oh, good. I'm very excited about this. I love an outdoor planter.
Me too.
I always have big plans for them, and then I don't do them.
Right.
So you're gonna give me tips today.
Yeah, absolutely. I always come with tips.
Yeah, you do. I always learn a lot.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the kind of typical cut greens and branches outdoor planter first.
Yeah.
So I think you'll find if you go to the shops, the prices have gone up on all of this stuff. And so you're going to want to stretch this as far as you can.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to pick the stuff that lasts the longest, because I think what you'll find sometimes is you put together an arrangement that looks amazing in November or December, January.
She not cute anymore.
Not cute anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what's that dead thing in your front yard?
Exactly. But you spend so much money, so you leave it, and then you're like, now it's the dead thing.
I know.
Yeah.
So picking the mix of greens that are going to last the longest, I would say this is how you're going to stretch the dollars there.
Okay.
So we're going to start with one of the main components is fir. So this is F-I-R, fir.
Okay.
Which a lot of our Christmas trees, holiday trees are fir trees. This makes a really good long-lasting cut branch. And much like for the same reason we have them for indoor trees, they work really well outdoors, even better in fact.
Nice.
So use a lot of this. This is very long-lasting. Then we're also going to look at things like cedar. So this is BC cedar, the West Coast one, not our local one here in the East. This lasts, I find, quite well. Not as long as fir, but it's going to be good. And then we've also got things that are a little bit more exotic in this mix that are actually not native. They don't grow here.
Okay.
Things like Carolina sapphire, this one.
So pretty.
I know,
Yes.
very pretty. I love the texture, love the color. We also have down here blueberry cedar, which
That looks
is
like juniper.
You are right.
Oh,
It is a juniper, but we call it a cedar. I
Can't
don't know
trick
why.
me, Owen. Yeah.
You're
I know. You're not getting it fast. Yeah.
but I love these. So these ones are not as long lasting. The other one that we have that's not as long lasting that we're going to use, and I'm going to get you to give me a hand.
Okay.
Eucalyptus.
This is the biggest eucalyptus I've ever seen.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do, this is our, ornamentation. We're going to add a little bit of extra texture and a little bit of extra color.
Okay.
And asymmetrical is very much the layout that we're trying to do with this. And I think doing things, this is very much the style and floral design.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
I think I did well. Yes. Owen, nicely done. Yeah.
So this is very much the style in contemporary floral design. If you go to a wedding, you're going to see a lot of asymmetrical arrangements these days. Do the same thing outside, not just because it's kind of trendy, it's also a lot easier.
Yes.
So, put that together, throw some sticks in together, add some elements. But what we're going to do to also help enhance how long these last, we don't have many eucalyptus growing in Canada.
I've never
it doesn't like our weather.
No.
But we're going to use a product called wilt proof. So this is one of those florist kind of secret products. It's an anti-desiccant, which is a big word. So this just means it's not going to, it's help things not to dry out.
Don't turn into desiccated coconut.
You got it.
Yeah.
And so for things like our eucalyptus, we'll just do a little spritzy spritz if I can make it work.
Yeah.
On that.
Okay.
And you can actually use this on everything. And it's like a sealant, and it'll prevent the moisture loss coming out of all of our evergreens.
Especially with our really dry winters, right?
You're exactly right. And it's windy. On a windy day, this stuff dries out quickly. So use wilt proof. It'll make everything last a lot longer, especially those things that kind of don't want to last very long by nature. It makes a huge difference. Also amazing for any indoor greens that you're doing. So if you're doing a mantelpiece or a centerpiece, that stuff is gold. Highly recommend.
Ooh, I like that. That's very, very beautiful. I'm into this. But what about, I know you wanted to talk about potting like living Christmas trees.
Yes.
Okay, so what are we doing over here?
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of a different kind of setup here where obviously everything that we have here is cut. This is kind of dead, but it doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
This is a living, what we call a living Christmas tree, living holiday tree. So this is a nursery grown tree that is in a pot that we have hidden inside of a more decorative pot.
Okay.
And so sometimes we can use these as literally our indoor holiday tree. A little bit of a trick to that, and the timing is important, but for outdoor arrangements, these work great. And especially if you have a big planter or you need something with height, this is like instant. We've got something that's 4 feet tall instantly. So this is a white spruce, which is one of the most common native evergreens all across Canada. And the idea is we're going to use this as our holiday ornament, and then it becomes a landscape tree in our yard.
Oh, so we're taking this and then we're planting it later.
Exactly. So it's like half landscaping, half decorating, a little bit of both.
Nice.
And what we can do with this is decorate it much like we would our indoor tree. And I'm using a lot of the same kind of ornaments that we might use in an outdoor planter, but we're just going to put them on here, add some lights, and this is going to last super long. If you want long lasting, this is like the longest lasting arrangement you can do.
Yeah.
Because this tree's gonna be pretty happy for a long time. Now, the trick that we have to think about when we're gonna plant it in the ground, the ground is frozen.
Yes.
How do we dig a hole?
Oh, yes.
The trick is you need to pre-dig the hole.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna show you just what the grower pot looks like so we can see maybe underneath.
Okay.
So this is the nursery pot.
Oh, the brown kind of like earthy looking one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's compressed peat moss. So we need to have a hole pre-dug in the ground, and then we're going to take this out of our planter and drop it into that pre-dug hole, and then keep some of those leaves that you rake up in the fall, and we're going to basically just bury this thing in leaves.
Okay.
So we're not going to bury it in soil. Chances are everything is frozen. We're going to bury it in leaves, and then come the springtime, we're going to plant it properly.
Okay.
But we have to kind of make a little nest for that tree to live.
Because it's just a baby.
It's a baby.
Yeah.
And it's ideally you want to have it in the ground, and then that way it's going to wake up at the same time as all the other trees that are planted in the ground.
Oh, right on.
As opposed to if it's out of the ground, it might wake up a little bit early because the soil in the pot warms up. It wakes up a little early. We don't want that.
Okay.
So it's important to just get it in the ground, bury it in leaves, and then in the springtime you can, plant it properly with soil.
Okay.
But that's when everything thaws out, and that's a great way to add. The one thing I'll mention with white spruce, this is a big tree.
Okay.
This is like a full-size forest tree. So if you've got a little city front yard, don't do
Maybe
this.
not. Yeah.
But there are other options. Just keep in mind that you have to have a space that's big enough for a full-size evergreen.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Okay, right on. I love that. Oh, Owen, we're keeping it fresh. I love this so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That smells so good in here.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.